guys, welcome into our week 3 of our pregame show. I'm your host, Mary-Kate Harrian, and here with me is our pregame editor, Courtney Baumann. All right, let's start off with how we always do. Thoughts on last week's game. You know, not really how I expected it to go at all, especially on the defensive side, but wow, it was so good to see Wadley play how he did and to see Nate go out there and seemed like he played with a lot more confidence.
Yeah, definitely. The offense did fantastic. 44 points, Akram Wadley with that huge run with a minute left in the game to tie it up and send it to overtime. It was really great to see it all come together. Defense, on the other hand, could have been a whole lot better, but they pulled it out anyways.
They did. And coming off such a high game, you know, the highs and the lows, it may be a little difficult to focus on what this could seem as maybe not as important as other games this season. But the guys are still focused and preparing for this game just like any other.
We did what we needed to do, and I think that comes back to Coach Brian Ferentz making some great plays throughout the game. He did a great job at calling the right plays at the right times, and I mean we just came out and executed. But we're just coming every day to get better and to improve. You know, prepare the same and do our best to stay focused throughout the week and prepare the same way that we did last week.
We just go back to our preparation that got us to the 2 victories. Same schedule, same thing. Just got to come back, work hard, and hopefully do the same thing this weekend.
You know, we have the 24-hour rule, so we enjoyed the win for 24 hours, and now it's all on to North Texas. Focus goes nowhere else besides on those guys. So it's a big game, and we need to be ready to go.
All right, let's talk about Wadley now. Not that he didn't play great in week 1 against Wyoming, but he played lights out on Saturday.
Oh yeah, it was exactly what everyone needed to see from him, what the team needed, and what, frankly, he wants to see from himself too. 260 all-purpose yards, 118 on the ground, 72 through the air, 70 on returns. It was great to see him perform the way he wants to. He's right on pace for his 1,400-yard mark that he keeps talking about all the time. So yeah, it was exactly what the team needed from him.
Yeah, and a little fun fact and also something to look out for this weekend, Wadley is only 3 yards away from reaching his 2,000 career yard mark. So I'm thinking we might get to witness a little bit of history this weekend.
Oh, definitely.
Now, offensively as a whole, I thought looked decently solid last Saturday, and for me to say that, I'm pretty hard on the offense, so that means something. But I think the guys are really starting to settle into their positions and their roles, and it definitely shows on the field, like I said with Stanley. His confidence was great on Saturday. And I was actually very impressed with the receivers as well, and poor Noah Fant getting overthrown like 3 to 4 times.
Yeah, I voiced my concerns with that. Stanley looked great, he really did, but there were a few times that, especially he overthrew Noah Fant, it just seemed that they couldn't connect last game. Iowa could have been up by a whole lot of points, even in the first half, but the game was a whole lot closer than it needed to be because Stanley didn't air out those balls enough and allow Fant to go out and get them. So that could be a cause for concern going forward just because he had wide open field a few times that he couldn't connect with his receiver on.
I was really impressed though, Nick Easley again. He's been doing so well. I know it's only about to be week 3, but so impressed with him, so impressed with Matt Vandenberg too. I was hoping he was going to get a touchdown since his history and his track record with Iowa State, so I was happy for him as well.
Yeah, definitely. Nick Easley has looked great. Only 2 games in so far, going into his 3rd as a Hawkeye. Spent 2 years at JUCO and showed what he could do there. And it's been really cool to see him come out right out of the gates and perform so well for Iowa. He's leading in pretty much every category for receivers.
Yeah, and just the way he presents himself on the field, off the field, you can tell just works his butt off, and he wants it.
Sure.
So I'm glad to see him doing as well as he is. Now, we talked a little bit about Iowa defense before, but they were just not all there in Ames, especially Josie Jewell, who I think shocked some people with how he played. And I watched him literally get ran over on a play, and that's not the Josie we expect, and especially off of week 1 what he did.
No, we haven't seen that from him really ever. There was a little bit there that I was kind of concerned. I saw him limp off the field. I think it was in the 3rd quarter. Worried me a little bit. He obviously came back. No worries about that anymore. But yeah, the defense just was not all there, and they talked about how they were not impressed with the way they played. Obviously happy that they came away with a win, but they definitely need to amp it up over the next few weeks, especially not looking past this game. North Texas's offense is a lot like Iowa State's, But with Penn State in 2 weeks, they need to get it together.
Yeah, and on Tuesday when we were there, they seemed a lot more in the zone, and they know they need to bounce back from last week. And they just kept talking about how hungry they are to get back on the field again. So I personally am expecting a big game out of the defense in general, but especially from that linebacking core. But here's what the defense had to say about their preparation this week for North Texas.
Every game brings a new challenge, and certainly North Texas does that. Like a year ago, or last week, we're playing a team that's got a second-year coaching staff, and they've done a really nice job there. So they come in here with a high-tempo offense that operates very efficiently, very effectively. It really isn't like anything we've seen this year, and certainly isn't like the offense that they brought in here a couple of years ago.
They're very athletic, especially up front. They can move, and they can run the ball, and they got a really good back, kind of like what we seen last week against Iowa State. So we got to be prepared and be ready to tackle.
Their offense is very good. They're fast, explosive. They got good wideouts. And they have really explosive backs, and their quarterbacks can throw the ball. So we got to be ready for them, and we're doing our best every day to get ready for them.
Yeah, I mean they're a fast group. They like 10 personnel stuff. So I mean they got a lot of wideouts, really good running backs, and their quarterback can run too. So I mean they have a lot of threats everywhere.
Now, there are some similarities in the Iowa State offense and the North Texas offense, and North Texas has a pretty solid quarterback as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They put up almost 700 yards against Lamar in their first game.
Yeah, and that quarterback had 400.
Yeah, just crazy numbers. Yeah. So they're definitely a pass-first offense, just like Iowa State. Probably going to see them run similar plays to what Iowa State did, where they saw Iowa let up and make some mistakes. So that secondary for Iowa is going to be huge in this game. They've been working on rerouting receivers, making sure they're pushing them a little bit and not letting them run straight down the field so those big plays don't happen again. Yeah. But North Texas is a whole lot different from when we saw them 2 years ago here at Kinnick. So keep that in mind. Let's
go to predictions now. What do you think is going to happen on Saturday?
I'm seeing it as a battle of the offenses, just like last week. Higher scoring game, not as high as last week, hopefully.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Iowa 31-21.
I'm also going to take Iowa. Like you said, this is a big game for the defense just because coming off the week that they had, they need to get back on the field and prove themselves a little bit. But I think this is a big game for the offense. They did pick up the defense last week, but I think just, again, not looking past North Texas, but this is a good game for them to go out there, show what they can do, still gain that confidence before going into a night game against Penn State.
How excited are you for that night game?
It's going to be incredible. But that is it for us from the sports studio. So make sure to tune in every Friday morning with me and Courtney, and we'll see you guys right back here next week. And Court, have a good birthday weekend, 21.
Finally.
Thanks, guys.